As for the question regarding Rafah, we're approaching a military operation in Rafah because over the course of this war that Hamas started, it began with 24 battalions. 18 of those battalions have been shattered in the north. The last two, the Khan Yunis Brigade, has already been dismantled, as the defense minister said just the other day, and that leaves 4 Hamas battalions still standing inside Rafah, a remaining quarter of Hamas's army, and we are determined to continue dismantling that terror army so that it can never perpetrate atrocities like it did on October 7th or threaten the people of Israel as it has over previous 20 years of rocket fire. I'll refer you to what the Prime Minister said in his telephone conversation with our friend and ally, President Biden, as the Prime Minister said on February 17th, just 2 days ago. He reaffirmed that Israel is going to continue fighting until we achieve total victory. That includes action in Rafah, of course, after we allow civilians found in the combat zones to evacuate to safe areas. We will continue dismantling the Hamas military machine. In doing so, we will continue doing everything possible under international law to minimize harm to civilians. That includes the obligation of precaution, and we have given a lot of warning for civilians to be able to evacuate. We do not want Hamas to be able to use them as human shields. It's regrettable that instead of being housed in the humanitarian zone that we designated at the beginning of the war in al-Mawasi, the civilians were funneled into Hamas strongholds instead. And we think the international community has a very firm obligation to condemn Hamas's human shield strategy and not cooperate with it, because if it continues to insist that it is impossible to evacuate civilians from areas where terrorists are trying to use them as human shields, and then to blame Israel when civilians are hurt, despite our unprecedented measures to try to get them out of harm's way, that sends a message to terrorists, not only to Hamas, but other extremist groups around the world, that using human shields works. That it's a strategy that works, because the international community will effectively give terrorists immunity for their military assets if they pile enough civilians around them. So we want to see civilians get out of harm's way so that we can continue destroying Hamas's military infrastructure, and will of course proceed in accordance with our operational needs.